You are listening to Girls Nerd Out podcast, covering all things fantasy, fandom, and funny. And here are Amanda and Chris.
Everyone, it's me, Amanda, and my Chris.
Greetings and salutations to you from me and all my people.
And we're excited to talk to you about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Season 1 finale. It starts off interesting. We have Dunk, who looks like hell.
Seven.
Seven hells?
He looks like seven hells.
He does. And he's sitting under a tree with Lionel Baratheon and a maester. And the music stops and it gets kind of serious for a second because the maester's looking at him like, this ain't great. And for whatever reason, he's burning sage. I thought it was funny because it's unexpected. Like the maester's like, oh no, the wounds look bad. And Lionel's just like, get the fuck out of here. And like just pushes him away and tells Doug that he's a shitty maester anyway.
He's like, you're going to die. I'm sorry. And he's like, get the fuck out of here.
God, I was like, jeez. I love some maester hate there. We don't get to see that very often. It was hilarious. He's just like, okay, yes, sir, yeah. And he just kind of like wanders off. And Lionel doesn't seem very concerned. And he said it's been a wonderful tournament. Shame it's over. Home is brutally dull. So apparently Storm's End is not fun for Lionel. It's not fun enough. And he asked Dunk to come with him to Storm's End. And he tells them they can hunt and sail and make merry. And he asked him if he's ever been to Tarth, which is a nice little Easter egg.
He's like, no, I've never been to Tar. He's like, well, you will one day.
Mm-hmm. Which is obviously in reference to his relation to Brienne of Tarth. And Dunk he's just grieving. He's just sad. So Lionel's like, come with me to Storm's End and I'll treat you like a brother. Or I'll love you like a brother. And if not, well, then fuck you, I'll hate you like a brother. So he says it's like it's a fine offer, but like all I do is bring pain around the people that are with me, and he's feeling sorry for himself. And Lionel gets kind of pissy, and he tells him, "You've done the realm a kindness. You'll see that one day. The only good dragon's a dead dragon." Which again, we have another Baratheon being pissed off at Targaryens when House Baratheon only exists because of House Targaryen.
Yes.
And that's a really good story. If you want to know that, or if you don't want to know and you want to wait for Aegon's conquest, that's fine. So, Dunk is like, Baelor fought for me. He gave his life. Can you speak of it with a little respect? And Lionel's like pissed. And he's like, I fought for you. Harding, Beesbury, the Apple Boy, we fought for you. Your prince fought for you against men sworn to protect him. He risked nothing. And the gods don't favor a fraud. It's like, damn, dude. And Dunk is like, why have they favored me? And he says, this is not favor. This is mockery. And then he says, there's a war coming. We could be a force, you and I. You'll consider it? So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's Westeros. There's always a war coming.
Yeah, always.
Plus, like, when the heir dies, the king is old, the vultures start circling. Chances are there's going to be a war. Plus, like, they had a Blackfire rebellion not too long ago, and not all the Blackfires are gone. They're just right across the narrow sea. So, like, he could be speaking of, like, any number of things that are likely to happen.
Yeah. And if you don't know who the Blackfires are, let's see. Aegon the Fourth was the unworthy. Is that right?
I think, yeah.
And before he died, he legitimized his bastard children and
Many, many bastard children.
yeah. And just made a mess, like a god-awful mess. He gave one of them the sword Blackfire, and I mean, how many generations have to deal with bullshit because he did that? Damn.
Blackfires are still trying that rebellion in the main story.
Yeah. So, I mean, he starts something that goes on. God, how many years would that be? Yeah, I mean, it's decades.
At least 60
Yeah,
to 70 years.
yeah. So,
I mean, that part was cut out of Game of Thrones. They didn't include that, but the Blackfires are still a thing in the books, like in
yeah.
the main story.
Mm-hmm. And I think the whole thing with the fake Aegon, I mean, you could consider that another Blackfire rebellion. So, just keeps happening. Um, so one thing a lot of people thought was really funny is Lionel says the caravan departs after the roast, and then right after he says that, it cuts to Baelor's funeral pyre. Yeah,
Because that's what he was talking about. He was.
yeah, yeah. I thought he meant like an actual roast, like they
I
were
thought he
gonna
did.
eat.
I thought he did too, till it cut to that. I'm like, oh, he's
Yeah,
being sarcastic.
yeah. When he said it, I was like, okay, well, he's just talking about they're gonna feast. Nah. um. So I mean, like, I can I can kind of see why Lionel says that, but the thing is, like, Baelor, he was going to keep the King's Guard at bay because they couldn't fight him. So, eh, we still like Lionel, even though he hates Targaryens. It's all right. A lot of people, kind of like they say he's kind of got some Oberyn and kind of got some like Bobby B. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that
Yeah.
because they tried to do a couple of callbacks to Robert. It seemed like almost when he's like, uh, "I love you like a brother," or "I'll hate you like a brother," because Robert liked Ned Stark as a brother, but hated his actual brothers.
Yeah.
So he had both of that going on, and Robert wasn't fond of Targaryens either, so they just added
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Mm-hmm. And then you could also say that, that Robert favored Renly and didn't like Stannis. And that was the whole thing Stannis was pissy about. Which I don't know if he really liked Renly more, but like they say Renly looked like a young Robert. So I feel like that's the reason he probably liked him more because he looked like a
Honestly,
younger version.
I would say Robert hated him the least.
There you go. There's that. Next, we get to see Raymond Fossaway, who has also become a favorite of a lot of people.
I think he's a favorite because I think he reminds a lot of people of Podrick. He
He
just kind of
does.
looks like Podrick.
Yep. A lot of people have said that. And I don't mind that at all. It's kind of perfect. And we find out that Raymond has taken a bride.
Not just any bride.
No, no. It's Red, who we know now has a name. Her name is Rowan. Rowan Fossaway. She is the camp follower that we've talked about in the previous episodes, who everybody just loved. Like, she didn't have a ton of screen time, but what she had, everybody loved it. And she, of course, is acting like she doesn't know Dunk. And Raymond explains that he didn't have anybody to help him with his armor. And of course, Rowan was there, and he said he got her pregnant. So they needed to tie the knot. And she like rubs her stomach. She's like, feels like a boy. And most people on the internet are saying that that is a Dondarrion baby. I don't
Why
think it
Dondarrion
matters.
in particular?
I think that was whose tent she was hanging out in.
I couldn't remember whose tent it was. I thought it was like Lord Ashford or something.
Mm-mm. Because that's how they meet. Because Dunk is looking for Dondarrion, and she's
Okay.
hanging out in the tent. Yeah, which is not super clear. But I just saw everybody saying like, "That's a Dondarrion baby," and I was like, "What?" And it's that. It's because that's where they were hanging out. But I mean, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people really like her. She's played by Rowan Robinson, and I got asked on live stream like what happens to them, like do they have a bunch of kids and stuff, which is really great. I love it when people get excited very much. And I've done 3 TikToks that are Rowan scenes, and I always like giving people good news, which sometimes with a Song of Ice and Fire is kind of hard, but this was fine. I looked it up, and the green apple fossilways are fine. In the books, one of Marjorie Tyrell's ladies is a green apple fossaway. So by knowing that, I would say that they are very happy and probably have lots of children. See? Sometimes it's happy.
Yeah, you get a happy ending.
Oh,
Good for
God.
her.
Not talking about a prostitute and a happy ending.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yes, you
I
were.
was I was just gonna let it linger.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves a happy ending. She's good at that.
You know what? He's probably very happy, and they probably do have a lot of children because she is probably very good at a lot of things. She's very pretty. So, later on, Raymond actually brings Dunk his white mare, Sweetfoot, and Dunk had to sell her to get the armor from Steely Pate. And it's really sweet because Dunk is so selfless. He loves Sweetfoot, but he's like, she's not mine anymore. And he gives her to Raymond because he knows that she'll have a wonderful life with Raymond. Raymond's very kind, and he immediately takes a green apple out of his pocket, takes a bite, and gives the bite to Sweetfoot, which is really sweet because when Dunk had to sell her, he was like, make sure she gets an apple. So it just lets you know that she's gonna have plenty of apples. And Dunk he's very sad. Um, like he still can only see out of one eye, by the way. And he goes to speak with Valar, who's Baelor's son, and he's despondent and angry, and rightfully angry. Like I don't know anybody that wouldn't be. And it's some really good acting because he doesn't have a lot of screen time, but he gives a small little speech about how many sons have died in their father's armor, but how many fathers have died in their sons.
Well, at least one.
Yeah. And he's just looking at Dunk, and he's like, "You're a hedge knight, and why? Like, why would you live and my father die?" Because he had a great dad. Baylor was a good guy. Maekar is not as angry, but I'm gonna say he's being truthful here. He's not softening anything, but he's not being cruel. And he says, "Some men will say I meant to kill my brother. The gods know it was a lie, but I will hear the whispers till the day I die." And Dunk says, "You swung the mace, but it was for me that Prince Baelor died." And he tells him, "You'll hear the whispers as well." The king is old. When he dies, each time a battle is lost or a crop fails, the fools will say, Baelor would not have let it happen, but the hedge knight killed him. Which that's probably true. I think Baelor was very well liked, and I mean that's kind of the tendency. I mean, you know, crops failed. Well, if it was Baelor, I don't recall don't getting any crap about it in the future, but I mean, in the show, he might. And then a moment that really stuck out to me is Dunk has been given it a lot of thought, and he talks about he's like, if we wouldn't have had the trial, then you would have taken a hand and a foot. And then he says, mightn't it be that some morrow will come when I have need of that foot, when the realm will need that foot more than a prince's life? And as soon as he said that, like I said to Chris, I was like, Summer Hall. That's Summer Hall. And I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, it's been out there for a long time. Summer Hall is a huge tragedy. Horrible.
The World of Ice and Fire says this. The last years of Aegon's reign were consumed by a search for ancient lore about the dragon breeding of Valyria, and it was said that Aegon commissioned journeys to places as far away as Ashai by the Shadow, with the hopes of finding texts and knowledge that had not been preserved in Westeros. What became of the dream of dragons was a grievous tragedy born in a moment of joy. In the fateful year 259 AC, the king summoned many of those closest to him to Summerhall, his favorite castle, there to celebrate the impending birth of his first great-grandchild, a boy later named Rhaegar, to his grandson Aerys and granddaughter Rhaella, the children of Prince Jaehaerys. It is unfortunate that the tragedy that transpired at Summerhall left very few witnesses alive, and those who survived would not speak of it. A tantalizing page of Gildane's history, surely one of the very last written before his own death, hints at much. But the ink that was spilled over it in some mishap blotted out too much. From the history of Archmaester Gildane, we get the following broken sentences. The blood of the dragon gathered in one. 7 eggs to honor the 7 gods. The king's own septum had warned. Pyromancers. Wildfire. Flames grew out of control. Towering. Burned so hot that died. But for the valor of the Lord commend. And that's all we have.
That's it. And the funny enough, uh, from Game of Thrones, the song Jenny of Old Stones, nobody knew what the hell that was about.
Some people were speculating it was about a secret Targaryen, and everyone was like, no, that where are you getting that? That has nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah, I mean, how would anybody get who that was unless you know the books? But it's Podrick that sings it, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he does a really good job.
a very good job.
Yeah, Jenny, uh, Jenny had a woods witch with her that claimed to be a child of the forest, and
Or she claimed that she was a child before.
yeah,
Jenny
she claimed she was. She's still alive, and she still cries about Summer Hall in A Song of Ice and Fire. So, strangely enough, someone that was at Summerhall is that song from Game of Thrones. So it's like, yes, it's been some time, but like there's still like connections and stuff. And I just remember that because nobody had a clue who Jenny of Old Stones was. I like Jenny. We don't know a lot about her, but
We like Jenny.
yeah. Yeah. Like Jenny with the flowers in her hair. And the Prince of Dragonflies.
That's actually where Rhaegar was born.
Yeah.
Like his mother was taken outside while the castle was burning down to safety, and that's where she gave birth to him. Like right outside, as people were in there dying.
And I think when Dunk says, when the realm will need that foot even more than a prince's life, what's worth more than a prince's life? Dragons. Dragons. So I think that that's definitely a hint at Summerhall, and Dunk is probably going to be the one that rescues her. So Rhaegar's born, and maybe there's a moment and he has to pick between Egg and a woman that's literally in childbirth. What's worth
And we
more
all
than a
know.
prince's life?
Yeah. Another
Like I could
prince's
see
life.
it. I could see that. But the thing is, like, if Rhaegar's not born and the tragedy happens, like all the things that lead up to Daenerys and the dragons, that doesn't happen. Like all that had to happen for everything to be set into motion for the dragons to be born. And so what's worth more than a prince's life? The life of everyone in Westeros. Because the dragons are the only thing that's going to be able to fight the others. That's what I think it means.
Dun dun dun. I mean, dun 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 dun.
Oh God. But like that just occurred. That's definitely a connection to Summerhall, and Summerhall is connected to Rhaegar and then Daenerys. You know what A Night of the Seven Kingdoms does? It connects the different times and stories without a dagger. I'm sorry. I've got beef with the cat's paw dagger, and now it's like a joke in the chat and the live stream. Everybody knows I hate that dagger and I'm sick of it. And ever since we found out that, like, in that season 3 leak that, like, somehow there's a secret inside the dagger or something, and it's like that damn thing in, like, Da Vinci's Code. Like, I guess they have to figure out a way to open it up, and I don't know.
I imagine if you just twist it the right way, it'll just twist off. Just no one ever thought to twist the handle.
No. But I told you it's like R2, if that's what's gonna happen. It's like, Luke is, like, tinkering around with R2, and then you get the hologram of Princess Leia. It's gonna be Rhaenyra and Alicent tinkering around with that dagger, and all of a sudden it's a hologram of Aegon, and he's gonna talk about his dream.
He's like, I am Aegon Targaryen, first of my name. If you are receiving this message, then I'm still alive. Please come save me.
Jesus Christ. Help me, the prince who was promised. You're my only hope. I think this might be too nerdy even for like a podcast that has nerd in the name.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's who we are. Makar actually offers Dunk like a really great deal. He's like, come with us to Summerhall. Ed can squire for you. Sir Arlen did all he could for you, I have no doubt, but you still have much to learn. Which Chris and I think Makar knows that Dunk hasn't been knighted. I don't think there's any doubt in that. Like, he kind of had a look. I mean, some people might argue it, but I think he knows he wasn't knighted.
Well, that he saw how he fought. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
there's room for improvement. Like,
Yes.
he didn't exactly fight well.
Right. He agrees he has a lot to learn, but he says, I think I'm done with princes. and Egg was listening. So when Dunk walks out, he tells him, maybe you're not the knight I thought you were. And Egg is really upset. Then we have Dare on. And Dare on, he's having I guess a couple moments of serious clarity. And Daron is actually trying to get Dunk to understand he needs to take Egg as a squire. Because he tells him, he's like, I told your father he's not my concern. And then Daron says, my brother wasn't always such a little monster. And then Dunk's like offended. He's like, Egg's no monster. He's just a boy. And Daron says, I didn't mean Egg. But no doubt we'll make a man of him too. Perhaps the seeds of madness are sown in the womb, as the maesters say. But Arion was quite the glad child once. He liked fishing. It's a very smart way to get Dunk to understand what he means. And the look on Dunk's face is he gets it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a shock. Because he's psycho. And then you're finding out from his brother, no, he was a happy little kid, liked to fish. So that makes me wonder what the hell happened. So Dunk is sitting there thinking, okay, well, if he goes back to Summerhall, is he going to become like his brother? The next scene, Egg is in his room and there's a mirror and he's looking and his silver white hair, the fuzz is growing back. And, he said the whole reason he shaves his head in the show is because he didn't want to look like his brother. And he gets a knife and goes into Arion's bedchamber with the intention to kill him. And the only thing that stops him is Egg didn't know his dad, Makar, was off to the side in the dark. And at that moment, I was like, oh shit, what's about to happen? Makar gets up and he walks behind him and he hugs him and Egg drops the knife. Which there's not a lot of dads that would probably be that understanding.
He's like, yeah, I get it. I killed my brother too.
Damn. But I mean, how bad does he know his son is if he understands why Egg wants to go in there and I guess slit his throat?
Yeah.
Eh,
And
eh,
after all that, he's like, well, maybe some time in the free cities will do him good. It's like, how is that going to do him any good? I
eh.
mean, at the end, it kind of does him some good, but I mean,
I
he's not.
saw I saw a funny TikTok that was like Magar thinking that Arian is gonna learn something in Lease. And then it was just like party music and like some guy like at different clubs. And I was like, yeah, just gonna be some more silver haired kids in Lease. Dunk returns back to Makar and he's like, I'll take Egg Esquire, but not at Summerhall. I'm going to take him on the road. He's going to be around the small folk. We're going to sleep in inns and under the stars. And Makar's like, I forbid him to live as a peasant. Aegon is blood of the dragon. He cannot sleep in ditches and eat hard salt beef. And Dunk is pretty brave when he says this. He's like, Daron never slept in a ditch, and all the beef Arian ever ate was taken rare and bloody. In other words, your kids are, they grew up rich and spoiled, and look what happened to them. And then Makar approaches Duncan. He says, he's my last son. And he looks very sad. And I asked Chris what he thought that meant.
That he doesn't plan on remarrying. He doesn't plan on having any more children.
Yeah.
Also, probably he's my last chance to get it right because the other two are fucked up. But maybe I could have at least one decent kid.
Yeah. My
granted,
thought, huh?
granted, the other two are fuck ups in their own way, but different ways, but each their own. But they still kind of fuck ups.
Yeah. I thought it was also in reference to his wife who passed, which,
Which is probably another reason he doesn't plan on getting remarried again because he's still hung up on the last one.
yeah.
When the sun is set, no candle can replace it.
Yeah. That's Makar. We don't know how she passed, but I don't think she passed in childbirth because that's usually stated. So she probably passed like a bit after having Egg. Is Egg the youngest? There's two girls. I can't remember if the girls are younger than Egg.
I don't recall.
I think he has, let's see, what is it?
The
Daron,
family
Arian. He has 4 boys and 2 girls.
the family trees aren't usually my area of expertise.
Yeah. Um, she probably died of like childbed fever or something like that. Because I mean, hell, she had 6 kids. But like by all accounts, Makar was very, very sad about her passing, and yeah, no remarriage or anything. Actually, I think we've already stated this, but the other son is Aemon, Maester Aemon, the one, Castle Black Maester Aemon, who, again, they've said we will probably see. I don't think it'll be a very big deal, but they'll probably have him.
I mean, like, because there was one story George was working on where they Dunk and Egg go to Winterfell, and like walls right there, and Egg has family there, so like it would not be a leap to go there.
True. And we were told that Ira Parker came out and said that George has given him 10 to 12 stories that are not the 3 that are published.
That has me wondering: did he just give him cliff notes
I
for
don't
10 to
know.
12 stories, or did he actually give him 10 to 12 fully written, ready to go stories? Because like I'm a little confused. Because last I heard, George was working on writing 2 different ones now, so that they could, so that when you know they finish filming like the 3rd season, they'll have material to go on. He's doing the same shit they did with Game of Thrones, where he was trying to write ahead of the seasons so that when they caught up, he'd have something ready. And
Ira
that's what it
Parker
sounded
said,
like. But when he said there's 10 to 12 stories, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean 10 to 12 stories? Either you have 10 or you have 12 stories if they've been given to you. How do you not know the number?
because there are probably 10 stories, and the way George writes, the last one can be probably separated if they want or not.
Possibly.
To me, that's what it means. It means there's 10, but at the end, there's so much, we could probably make the last 2 stories 2.
But like with that, when he say like, we have enough material for 10 to 12 seasons, not 10 to 12 stories.
I think he just wanted to make a very strong point that George has been writing, and this show is not going to go past source material. I think that's the point.
Could have said it a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, but like it might be Cliff's notes, and maybe he doesn't want people to know that. He just wants he knows what he's doing. Like he's worked very hard to make it very clear that all these people that are nervous because we've been kicked so many times that he's not going to kick us. That's all that is. That's all he's trying to do is say, "Hey, I got 10 to 12 stories. Like I'm working with him. Like we're going to be fine." To me, that's what he's doing. We're going to be fine. It's not going to happen. He has stated over and over again he is not going to ignore source material. He's going to be in contact with George. And this was the last thing because everybody's like, all right, but like, what are you going to do after season 3? He's saying, I got it. I got it. He's basically just trying to tell everybody, don't worry. It's going to stay good without saying that. I mean, like the guy is basically walking outside with a t-shirt that says, hey, I'm not Dan or Dave or Ryan Condal. And on the back it says, I'm also not Sarah Hess. That's what he's doing. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's exactly what you would do.
Yeah. I mean, he is stating he is not going to make the previous showrunners' mistakes without their names and starting some active beef, which, I mean, there probably is some, which is funny. But, I mean, he's trying to reassure people, and it's nice. And he's defending George. Look, you made a really good point that, what is it, Steely Pate's line, I think, was left out.
Yeah.
And Ira has already addressed that and apologized. He said it was in the script. It somehow, got taken out. The, basically the statement is in the season, but he apologized. And a lot of people brought up like, hey, Dunk's supposed to have long hair. He said, don't worry about it. In season 2, he's got long hair. Like whatever is coming up, this guy does not have a problem saying, you know what, that was my bad. And I'm gonna fix it. And we haven't had that. All we've had is ego. I mean, we're talking about like a guy that when confronted about why did you leave out Nettles, like he can't even admit he screwed up. He just goes, well, just because you haven't seen her doesn't mean she's not going to show up. Okay. So you're going to put somebody in the background and call her Nettles. Great. I just think Ira's trying to tell everybody's going to be fine.
That sounds about right.
I just hope, I can't think of his name. The showrunner for Aegon's Conquest is just learning from all of this. Dunk is going to leave, and of course, we hear Sir Duncan. My father says I'm to serve you. And Dunk says, serve you, sir. Chestnut's yours. Treat her kindly, and I don't want to find you on Thunder unless I put you there. And then Egg asks where they're going, and Dunk says they could go anywhere in the 7 kingdoms, and Egg cuts him off and says 9. And Dunk's like, what? And Egg says, there are 9 kingdoms, sir. And Dunk says, are you mad? And Egg replies, is that relevant? Which is meant to be funny. And a lot of people, like, it's just a joke. Like, a lot of people are like, ha ha ha, that's foreshadowing because he's going to be another Mad King. Oh, come on, get it. Give me a break. It's a joke. It's literally a joke. Sorry, I'm a little tired of the Mad Targaryen thing. So Dunk looks totally confused because he's like, what do you mean 9? And he says, the Crownlands, the Westerlands, the Stormlands, the Riverlands, the Iron Islands, the North, the Reach, the Vale of Arryn, and Dorne. 9 fingers. And Dunk is just kind of like, oh, wow. Which it's cute because like people have said that for a while. Very nerdy people have mentioned it's actually not 7. And the thing with Dorne is like that it's kind of iffy with Dorne.
Yeah.
Like Dorne's in like independent, but they still say 7 kingdoms. Then there's like whimsical music, and you have Dunk on Thunder and Egg on Chestnut, and then you see a white horse at Sweetfoot, and there's a rider that veers to the left and they go straight. And it is it's like the spirit of Sir Arlen on Sweetfoot to represent that Dunk is now the knight and Egg is the squire, whereas it was Sir Arlen was the knight and Dunk was the squire. It's their story now. So it was like a passing the torch type thing. And I saw online that people were saying, why did Sir Arlen fake his own death?
And like, I didn't pick up on that at all. I thought it was like the green apple guy riding with them until like, they got to a certain point and that, he's going a different direction. I didn't even know that was supposed to be Sir Arlen.
Yeah, it was Sir Arlen. And then it was really cute because the title card appears and it says a Knight of the Nine Kingdoms.
I love that.
Yeah. Then the very last scene is Maekar and all of his retinue leaving Ashford, and he's looking around, and oh man, he's like basically like, where the fuck is Egg? And it's like, oh shit, he lied.
Which is a weird addition because that doesn't go that way in the book.
No,
He actually has permission and he moves, he goes on with Dunk and all that. So adding that to I don't know, it kind of undercuts any growth we were hoping Egg had because he lied before and his brother lied and that caused all these problems for Dunk because they were lying. And then afterwards he learns nothing and just lies again, completely heedless of what consequences that may have for Dunk.
well, actually, you and I had a conversation at some point, and I don't know, it might have been 2 years ago, but I asked you, I said, why the hell would Maekar let his son just go off with a hedge knight? I asked you that, and I told you it didn't seem right. Like, I don't get it. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
it didn't make sense.
Because
But I was like,
he's the blood of the dragon. He's the son. I never could. That never made sense to me. I wonder if this is kind of what
because
they
like
decided.
because George left it kind of subtle and like you have to read between the lines a little bit to know that Dunk was never knighted, but it never explicitly says it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, of course, years later, he eventually, someone asked him at a Comic-Con, he was like, yes, that Dunk was never actually knighted. He confirmed it because the text itself doesn't. So
Right.
so that when this could be another situation of that where the text didn't confirm it, Egg just kind of rode off on his own. And because they're going off on their own, you know, wherever, like nobody knows where to search for them.
Well,
So like
also,
the whole time he's actually, hasn't had permission.
right. I think they wanted to end on a funny note. I think that's another reason. And Maekar looking around like, well, where is he? I mean, a lot of people thought it was really funny. I think it was that.
But also at one point in the story in the books, they run into Blood Raven,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not like, "Hey, they've been looking for you," blah blah blah. Like, I think I might take you back with me. I mean, I think he does threaten to take him back,
He does. Yeah.
but that seemed more like I'm Blood Raven. I can kind of do what I want,
I
more
can't wait
than
to see
"Hey,
Blood
your
Raven.
father's looking for you."
What's probably going to happen is there's going to be a moment, and like I don't know what it is. I'm sure they've already got it mapped out, but that'll be corrected. There'll be a course correction. He will have
Well, I mean,
permission.
like this could be one of those things from the books that just George was like, actually, yes, he never had permission, but like you can't reveal that in the text.
I mean, George is supposed to be heavily involved, so there's reason for it. Maybe there's going to be uh, some moment that he has planned, and it'll be very impactful, and he'll get permission to go with him from that point on. I don't know, but who do you think eventually knights Dunk?
Does he have to be knighted? I mean, really? Couldn't that be his whole thing to where he was even a member of the King's Guard and all this other stuff, but was never actually knighted?
I don't know. I feel like somebody's going to knight him. I just don't know who.
Oh, Egg good.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cute. That would actually, if Egg ends up knighting him, like privately, so nobody knows that he wasn't knighted. Like that, I'll cry over that, man. I will. I'm calling it. I will cry. That would be that would be like top tier.
It's
So
like if Egg's not the one that knights him when he becomes king,
yeah,
then he needs like if it's not that, then he needs to just go the entirety of the whole story never actually being a knight.
yeah. It was a great episode. It's really hard to follow up. Like the previous episode was just like so much, and like it was epic. Like I think they did a really good job. Um,
Like I don't recall when Dunk joins the Kingsguard, but if we're assuming he doesn't join the Kingsguard until Egg becomes king and actually can appoint him, then they could have this big moment where he's like, "But only knights are allowed to defend me, sir." Kneel.
yeah, I'll cry over that too. I thought they did a really good job. It was a good episode. It was. They hired very talented people, and the script was written to where we actually really you gotta think about it, like, these were short episodes, and there was only 6 of them, and you got people you know what I've seen on TikTok? I've already seen, Lionel Baratheon's, helm with the antlers, somebody's already made that. I saw Aaron's helm, someone's already made that. Um, hell, I have one of Rowan's outfits. I made the belt myself,
Are you talking about like
and
fan made stuff or like officially licensed merchandise?
no, fan made. That I mean, like, people love this show enough that they're making things. That's how you know it's impactful. It's sticking with people. I saw all kinds of posts, um, saying that they were so sad that it was over and like Sunday was not going to hit right because A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is over. And then like you got people 3D printing helms and like hell, I made a Baylor and a Makar Funko. Check out my TikTok. I'm shamelessly plugging myself. I don't care. Go. I'm the Southern Mother of Dragons, bitch. Look at my stuff. But like,
Oh, I've looked at your stuff. It's
oh
pretty good.
Jesus.
Pretty
That's
good.
where that's where those only scales rumors come in. I don't have that. But I've seen oh god, somebody on TikTok painted a shield like Dunks. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Like 6 episodes, less than an hour each episode, and you've got people doing that. I love it. I love it. People love Lionel. People love Egg. People love Donk. Makar like has way more depth than I would have thought. I mean, I think they did great with the time they had. I mean, you got people out here that are huge fans of the green apple fossilways. People are going to hate the red apple fossilways forever.
Do you think they'll keep the same format for next season where only be like 30 minutes? Just because the novellas are so short, like there's only so much info. Like if they made them each episode like an hour long, like which is traditional, like they'd only have like 3 episodes because like the
Really?
novellas that aren't really all that long. So do you think they'll keep that? Do you think they'll try to go the extra mile and like bump it up to 40, 45 minutes each? Or do you think now that they're confident that the first season did so well, they'll move on to like, full on 1 hour episodes and just try to pad it with other like material from the books that wasn't quite, uh, like maybe stuff from the history and lore, like try to take certain little things and stretch it out? to fill in the gaps.
Rumor has it that it's going to be probably the same amount of episodes, but they're bumping them all to 45 or so. Which it feels right because
They did,
you,
from what you've told me, they did cut like a sizable
mhm,
amount of stuff here and there
yep,
from this season.
because they were being
So
cautious, and rightly
maybe,
so. I get why they were cautious. I do.
so maybe if they don't cut a whole lot of stuff, like they
Yep.
could do 45 minutes.
Like I think there was probably a scene cut with Dunk telling the guy that he's not into his plot for, the tourney and to
The,
kick
the,
Lord
the,
Ashford's son.
the plot made no sense because it's like, why would you pay a guy to try to win when he was already going to do that to begin with? Like, why?
I think there's a
Because
cut scene.
possibly, but like that whole thing still doesn't make sense.
I don't know, but I do know Beesbury had multiple scenes and they were all cut. So there's no telling what else they had.
Because like,
So
if you're going to have a conspiracy, you don't involve people that don't need to be involved. Where
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
hey, it's like there's a boxing match. Like you bribe the guy to take a fall, and if he's already willing to take a fall, you don't even consult the other guy because he's already there to win. He's already going to try.
Which leads you to believe there was probably some other part that we're just not privy
But even
of.
so, like if that's the plot, like it makes no sense. I know they probably included it just to be like, hey, well, this is Dunk. He's an honorable guy, blah blah blah. But like, I mean, we kind of got that. You can remove that whole little subplot. Like that whole scene could be removed and nothing would change.
True, which makes me feel like there was something else to it, but I don't know. And there's no telling what else was probably cut. But the thing is, like, it did really well, and now they know that people like it. So I think the episodes will be longer. Yeah. And I don't know, we might get lucky and maybe the cutscenes, maybe they'll release those. I don't know. It'd be cool if they did.
They could do that for the DVD,
I hope.
the Blu-rays, or sometimes they do that for the streaming version.
Yeah.
Like how for Game of Thrones, like they went back and then fixed the coffee cup thing.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm sure they could go back and just add in scenes. Like used to, like that would only be for DVDs and Blu-ray and stuff like that. But now streaming is so popular, they go back and they'll edit stuff for streaming.
Hmm. So maybe with it doing so well, maybe that'll happen. I mean, I think that'd be really cool. Um, I think I don't know. We're supposed to get season 2 next year. That's the other thing that they wanted to make clear. It's not 2 years. Next year.
How long did it take them to make this one? It seemed like they've been working on it for a while.
Well, I think it was finished. And you just want my opinion on what happened?
No, I was wondering if you knew, like, when did they start filming season one?
A long time ago. They kept pushing it. Like I kept complaining because they kept pushing it back. And I know why they were pushed it back. They pushed it back because of season 2 House of the Dragon. Tanked. It scared the shit out of them. That's why we got shorter episodes. Look, season 8 of Game of Thrones tanked. House of the Dragon season 1 did fine. Season 2 tanked. And you got people sitting there going, oh God, we just invested in this. Shave off as much as you can and God willing, maybe it'll be okay. They were afraid. Season 2 of House of the Dragon did us no favors. If anybody wants to complain we didn't get enough of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, go talk to Ryan Condal. That's what it was.
I'm just wondering, like, how long it'll take them to actually film it. Because if it'll be out next year, I'm just wondering what time next year. Because how long
They're
it'll
already
take. Because
working
how
on
long
it.
well, I mean, they're already filming, or they're already like starting the writing process.
Look, I know you think that like I have all the knowledge and like all these
I'm just asking
connections.
if you know.
Let me try to find out.
Usually when I ask you about shit like that, you're like, yeah, they started filming like last March, blah blah blah. Like they wrapped up around. So I'm like, all right, well, when? How is this? You're like, I don't know. Why do you ask like I always know, even though I always know? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why do you make me sound that way? I don't sound that way.
I don't sound like that.
I don't sound like that.
I don't sound like that. I don't sound anything like that. Showrunner Ira Parker recently told IGN, "We'll explore the theme of loyalty and maybe against blind loyalty." He said, "We're pretty faithful to the book. I would say little flourishes here and there, but we did a lot of that in season 1 as well. It should all feel inherent to the world and to Dunk's POV. They're currently filming interiors for these new episodes at Belfast Titanic Studios, where the original Game of Thrones was shot, with exteriors in Spain, although there's been an unforeseen twist. We are going to drier pastures in Spain for the drought scenes," Parker said, "except that the location that was meant to be our dry riverbed is now a fully flowing river after getting rain for the first time in 10 years at this location. And so now has sent us scrambling and searching for changes at this late date. So they are already filming interiors. They're already filming in Ireland and they're looking for dry land in Spain."
That's usually how it works when filming. It's like, yeah, you could film here. It hasn't rained here in 10 years. You show up and it starts raining.
Well,
I believe something like that happened to George Lucas, like in every of the original Star Wars trilogy movies. Like when they were filming the desert scenes, like they got like the first like heavy rainfall they'd had in like what 50 years or something, just like right after he had shown up. And I think for the snow stuff for Hoth, they got like the worst snowstorm that had hit in the last like 10 years or so, something to that effect.
the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain.
I thought the rains were down in Africa.
No, it's Castamere. Ira says we're working, I'd say, pretty quickly. I think the plan would be to do one season a year, and so then we'll see if the fans keep responding. But this is a very fun world to write in. There's a lot of possibilities. So he plans on doing one season a year. So
I'd hope
if I,
so, given how short the novellas are.
well, I would say we'll probably get season 2. It depends on if there's delays, but like at the latest, probably summer next year. So
I'd
I
love
look
to see
forward to it.
someone do an adaptation of Sand Kings. That's what I want.
Maybe
There's a
they
movie.
will.
There is a movie out, but it's awful. Like it's not good.
Look,
But it was like a made for TV movie in like early 90s. That should tell you everything you need to know about the quality.
if with this IP, if a show does well, it helps all the others. If it tanks, it hurts us.
They had
So
done they had done what was it called? The sci-fi story he had about the spaceship that was weird. They turned that into a TV show, and there was I think something else uh, of George's that was recently turned into a show, but like none of the but it's none, the night was it Night Flyers, Night
I don't
Flyers,
know.
or the Night Flyer. Uh, that was the interesting story. That's not one of my favorites. And there was what the Badlands or Into the Badlands or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's also not necessarily one of my favorites, but like I'd love for them to do the Pear Shaped Man or Sand Kings.
I
I
need
don't
to
know if they
read
could.
those.
I don't. Maybe I'll read them to you at some point.
Oh yes, that please. It's my favorite. Let's do that.
Pear Shaped Man kind of comes off as like something you could see like an old Twilight Zone, like the original Twilight Zone covering similarly. I don't know if it'd be filmable though, because a lot of it's like internal, like monologues, and like the story works because you can like you're in the you hear the thoughts of like the main character and how creepy things are. I don't know if you could translate that to film all that well.
There's some pretty creative people.
I would give it a 9 or an 8.5, maybe in that area.
It was really good. I enjoyed it. It's a good time. If you're interested, the next episode is going to be us discussing the season 3 leaks for House of the Dragon. It's a funny one. So subscribe, follow, like, leave comment, do all the things.
All the
And
things.
all the things.
All the things she said.
Yeah, that. All right. Say bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Hey, it's Amanda here. Thank you for listening to my podcast. And if you don't mind, go on over to YouTube and Instagram and follow the podcast there. And that way you'll get alerted the next time an episode drops. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Girls Nerd Out Podcast. Now no one can say you know nothing.